Using Jeffrey Jerome Cohen's monster culture theory, Lupin's complex identity is a refusal to participate in the classificatory order of things, since monsters are disturbing hybrids whose externally incoherent bodies resist attempts to include them in any systematic structuration. Lupin is unable to assimilate completely in with the wizarding world since he is half human and half wizard. His werewolf transformations also does not allow him to be categorized within the normal structure of the wizarding society, even if he was a pureblood. At the School for Wizards, Hogwarts, Lupin could not attend classes normally since he had to be isolated during his transformation to keep other students safe. As an adult, he has difficulty maintaining a career and is forced to leave his position as a defense in dark arts professor at Hogwarts when his secret was leaked. Later on in the series, as an infiltration spy, he was unable to retrieve any valuable information from the werewolf pack because the wolves didn't trust him because he lived among human beings. Therefore, Lupin resists classification of constructed identity, yet is still always classified by the social system as an other that is dangerous, monstrous, non-human, diseased, deformed, or just basically different from themselves.
Hello, Harry. I saw you coming. I've looked worse, believe me.
You've been sacked.
No. I resigned, actually.
Resign? Why?
Well, it seems that somebody let slip the nature of my condition. This time tomorrow, the owls will start arriving, and parents will not want someone like me teaching their children.
But Dumbledore...
Dumbledore has already risked enough on my behalf. Besides, people like me are, let's just say that I'm used to it by now.
Bynum's sympathetic werewolf/victim theory is clearly evident in Lupin. Since infancy, Lupin was bitten by a werewolf named Fenrir Greyback as an act of retaliation toward Lupin's father. Unlike the medieval portrayals, Lupin loses his mind when he transforms into a werewolf during the full moon. During his time at Hogwarts, his friends trained to become animagi, which allowed the human body to transform into an animal for his sake. In their transformed animal state, his wolfish tendencies were less violent, since he was only a real threat towards humans. After the invention of the wolfsbane potion, he is able to regain control of his mind during metamorphosis, but still chooses to isolate himself during this time out of a conditioned fear that he is a viable danger to all those around him, even towards his loved ones. In the series, another wizard, Tonks, falls in love with him, but he initially denies her relationship since he's afraid of his own self. He also never wants to pass on his genes in case his offspring inherit the lycanthropy. Without a soundproof cure, Lupin does not want to put anyone in harm that contradict to his true nature when he's a human.
Remus, my old friend, have you taken your potion tonight?
You know the man you truly are, Remus. This heart is where you truly live. This heart here. This flesh is only flesh.
Expelliarmus!
Remus!
Wait!
Hermione! Bad idea.
Professor? Professor Lupin?
Stop it. Stop it. There you are, Potter.
Sirius!
Come back here, Potter.
Violence has always been linked to the figure of the werewolf. First, there's potential violence for cannibalism, popularized by the infectious werewolf's bite. Then there's also the violence of physical marks, which makes a werewolf recognizable and distinct from its human counterpart, seen by the community, such as clothes being torn apart from its monstrous body, emerging out of the human bodies. This is quite different from the depiction of the Baron quietly folding his clothes in a lair as he gets ready for the transformation. But even the medieval Baron does not want to let anyone see him transform back, most likely due to the unnatural nature of metamorphosis. Lupin's werewolf transformation is physically painful for the human body as his muscles rip and bulge, violently tearing through the skin. The form of the werewolf is never stable. Neither wolf nor man, he is at the same time both the one and the other in continuous mutation. As Cohen says, the hybrid conjoins differences without fully assimilating them. This can be seen through Lupin's resistance and struggle during transformation, and even afterwards his appearance still resembles the human through posture. Cohen also talks about the double sense of the word monstrum, which means to warn, relevant to the said violence and danger attributed to a werewolf. And second, which is that which reveals, a revealing of something that is more epistemological in the sense that it tells us about the nature of knowing reality. A reality that society's fear and rejection of the werewolf is actually misplaced when considering that the monstrosity is a metaphor for difference. Therefore, society is actually rejecting difference and anything that does not fit into the constructed order. Wouldn't this locate the real monstrosity in the way individuals live by social norms that forcefully exclude and condemn difference? Following this idea of society being actual monsters condemning the difference, I wanted to talk about David Altman's untitled sculpture created in 2001. The sculpture is a decapitated werewolf head with crystal structures growing out of it, a grotesque yet strangely and morbidly beautiful object. There seems to be a fascination with death and decay, since the head looks like it's been rotting for years after the death of the werewolf. However, his work can be interpreted with optimism, in that there is a sense of life and hope symbolized by the infestation of crystal growth. Applying Bynum's idea that the werewolf's mind is retained after transformation, then this crystallization within the head, where the mind resides, is significant that even after the death, the werewolf is able to support life in its decay. Quoting Mark Cheetham, the crystal as form and metaphor lies in its liminal position on the border between inanimate and animate, the inorganic and the organic, mirroring the position of the werewolf's identity as man and animal. The crystals, even as corpses, they function as physical reminders of life. Once appropriated onto the body of the werewolf, it carries the implication that the werewolf is also a reminder of life that should not be rejected but embraced. This goes to say that the werewolf exists as a tragic figure to remind society of the problematic way that they categorize and judge people based on the differences. Just like how werewolves are misunderstood as evil or violent, when in actuality figures like Remus and Alfonso are kind-hearted and not much different from everyone else.